Jordan, thanks for joining McFadden Digital here at NRF 2023. As analyst in residence at VTEX, you published some great thought leadership and also really enjoyed your content back when you were working at IDC as an analyst. Really a great thought leader. So thanks for taking the time. Love to hear some of your insights and share them. Working at VTEX, leading e-commerce OMS platform. So you had a great session yesterday on stage, sold sold out show there. Congratulations on that. And you talked about a white paper of 3 trends in e-commerce and real investment areas. Can you summarize those 3 investment areas for us?
Yep. So, like you said, I used to be an analyst at IDC, and the goal of the paper was to take that kind of analyst approach, conducting research, and bring it to a software company, talk about the market from a more objective and thought leadership perspective. So I conducted research to create this white paper, and the goal was to summarize if a company, a retailer, or a brand could only make 3 investments, what would they be? And what I arrived upon was those 3 investments being 1, double down on existing customers. So there's a lot of focus on customer acquisition in retail and among CPG brands and such. About 80% of marketing budgets from the typical retailer is focused on acquisition, whereas about 90% of profits come from existing customers. And for most sellers online, you're actually losing money on new customers until you get them to come back over and over. So want to move the needle towards your existing customers and getting them to come back and them to have a higher AOV, average order value. So that's 1. 2 is make inventory and fulfillment your strength. So, and we have a really strong OMS at VTEX, but what we found is that fulfillment, particularly in inventory and shipping, is kind of viewed as a cost of doing business more than a focus area. And if you think about why people love Amazon and other marketplaces, is fulfillment largely, like with Prime.
True.
2-day shipping, that was a long time ago at this point. If you're doing 2-day shipping, you're way behind. You're behind Amazon was 8+ years ago. So the thought is, how can retailers and brands focus on fulfillment and inventory differently and actually make it a focus area? That's 2. And then the 3rd is engage with customers in new ways. So you look across most online e-commerce sites and the vast majority look the same. Again, like calling on Amazon, I think Amazon set what a product page looks like and everyone kind of followed. Right. Like, this is where the picture goes, this is where the description goes, this is the cart, reviews, and everyone kind of copied, which is fine, but they kind of look the same, and we believe that there's a lot of opportunity to engage with customers just differently. Customers who want to interact with your brand in new ways, like live shopping, conversational commerce, immersive PDPs. There's a lot of opportunity to do so, and that can really benefit your conversion rates. So that's kind of the really Cliff Note version of the paper.
Okay, great. The inventory and fulfillment as a key offering, that's definitely a strength of VTEX, very modern mock alliance architecture solution, including some marketplace capabilities. And I know you have a lot of clients that integrate stores through omni-channel, distribution center, store fulfillment, to and from, the reverse logistics. Can you tell us a little about that integrated e-commerce and OMS from one platform?
Yeah. What we found is, I believe I'm speaking on behalf of our founders and who built the software itself. So I'm not sure I'm going to get 100% right, but I don't think they set out, like Walmart was the first customer in Brazil that was really big. Like the team was, I think, 16 people at the time, and they won Walmart Brazil, and it was like they had to spend tons and tons of sleepless nights and hours working on it. And they set out to build an e-commerce site, not OMS necessarily or marketplace, but what they found is that you needed that. You needed to have inventory management, order management to be effective with e-commerce. Your inventory is like, if you don't have your inventory, you have nothing in e-commerce. It doesn't matter how good your site looks, how good your customer service is, how good your marketing is. If you can't get a product to a customer when they expect it, nothing else matters.
Right.
At the end of the day. Like, I think we've all had those experiences. You expect to get a product in 2 weeks and it comes in a month and you're really pissed off, or you expect it to come in 2 weeks and it comes in a week and you're pissed off. I had that happen with a bed recently and I had to rush to get the mattress and that sort of thing. I won't call out the retailer there, but that's the idea behind making fulfillment a strength, and it really helps when you have an integrated OMS, inventory management, and commerce, and then the marketplace is another way to kind of expand your assortment without taking on additional cost for holding on to that inventory.
Great. Yeah, a lot of our projects back in the last decade were integrating e-commerce and OMS, and it's great that it comes combined out of the box from one vendor with advanced capabilities, omni-channel, store, DC, and reverse logistics, even the returns process. That's a great offering. In your presentation, you also mentioned about the focus on profitability and the different stages of the evolution of digital commerce. Can you share some more about that?
Yeah, so this was actually, as a former analyst, I kind of went into this paper just saying, I want to do research and I want to write a paper. And it was around 3 investments, same theme, but this was like, let's say, first half of last year I had this idea. By the second half, it was clear to me this had to be focused on profitability because things had shifted so fast. So if you look at the Census Bureau data, and you can download the paper and actually look at the data, I came to the conclusion we've had 3 different eras in the past 5 years for retail, not just online, but offline as well. And those 3 eras are era of the old normal, as I call it, which is, I'm not going to talk about the new normal, but it was kind of everything pre-COVID. You look at the trends, inventory was pretty predictable, demand was pretty predictable, retailers balanced growth and profitability, you balanced your investments, you didn't make moonshot investments, e-commerce was kind of a side project. And then we moved to the latter half of 2020, after the immediate craziness of COVID happened, retail boomed. Like initially e-commerce, but then in 2021, offline retail boomed and actually grew faster than e-commerce for a while. And there's a lot of reasons for why, but I term that the era of growth, or era of growth at all costs. And all focus was on growth, less on the margins, your unit economics, and investments were kind of crazy in things like NFTs and cryptocurrencies and things like that. That's when all the craziness started. And then we entered the final era, which began last year, let's say in spring 2022, where we entered the era of profitability, which is where we currently are. We've been in it about 9 months now, and the era of profitability is, a lot of things have changed. Interest rates have gone up, inflation has gone up. Growth was 8 or 9% last year if you look at the numbers, but so was inflation. So the actual number of units a retailer or brand was selling is about flat. So we're in that third era. We're in the era of profitability. I've gone on a bit here, but like that's what starts off the theme of this paper. There are 3 bets to focus on, given that we're in this new era.
Yeah, we've definitely seen as well a shift from not just focusing exclusively at top line at any cost, but focusing on the bottom line as well, that profitability, especially for some of the D2C companies that have a limited set of funding and they're not going to be able to raise any more money. They've got to make their current money last. And profitability. And
D2C is unique in that I actually spoke to one of our customers who does D2C, and I asked them, is this a profitable business? And they don't know the answer. And it doesn't necessarily need to be in every case, because D2C is kind of to gather first-party data to understand your customers. But you need to be thinking about it at the very least, and there's a lot less projects probably in the future for these crazy D2C ideas.
Great. A last question for you. You also mentioned some of the new capabilities of e-commerce and new features that are ways in which consumers are engaging with a retailer or a brand, like live streaming video. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the third bet, again, is engage with customers in new ways. And one of the things we've seen, China is often referenced for good reason, because about a quarter of all e-commerce, which is about half of their entire economy, retail economy, is video. It's live shopping, it's live streaming. There's been a lot of focus on that in China, and we're starting to see it pick up a lot in Europe and South America. Not so much yet in the US, but what we've done is we want to make it easy for customers to enable live shopping. So it's natively built into VTEX. You can turn it on, you can turn it off. One of our customers, Motorola, has tested it and they're going forward with it. Others have as well. But my kind of summary is there should be more video in general, not just live shopping. There's one-to-one conversations that are helpful. Embedding things on PDPs, move it above the fold on your PDP because consumers want video. I think TikTok has shown that.
Absolutely.
We've moved beyond Facebook, where it's a static page. Consumers want video. So bring that throughout your commerce kind of experience.
Yeah, that's a great, unique differentiator of VTEX and a great out-of-the-box capability to accelerate a brand.
Yeah, because there's like a little bit of friction if you have to implement this new system for video. So it's nice to be able to test because we've entered the testing economy, as my CEO Mariano says. So if you can just turn it on, test it, launch a live shopping event, it can be kind of just boost your conversion rate a little bit to make you a bit more profitable.
Yeah, great capability.
Yeah.
Well, Jordan, thanks again for joining us at NRF 2023.
Of course, glad to be here.
Thanks. Pleasure talking to you.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.